Now, it's time for a Shoptalk original content presentation. Please welcome Shoptalk Senior Vice President of Content, Krystina Gustafson, and Shoptalk Vice President of Content, Joe Laszlo, for a presentation on the retail Zeitgeist.
Well, here we go with another one of these. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the great theater of retail. Over the last 3 days, we've been taking you on a journey that explores all the ways that retail show business is changing. It's a journey of opportunity, comedy, thrills, and potentially tragedy, complete with theatrical peril for those businesses that don't get on board.
Yes, but with such dramatic and widespread changes, it can sometimes be difficult to see how all these moving parts come together. So for the next 20 minutes, we'll share a plot summary outlining how 4 key components, or acts, if you will, are transforming the great theater of retail.
100%. We'll look at the stage, your stores, and how shoppers are seeking both continuous experiences across online and physical stores, while at the same time removing friction. We'll discuss the stage crew, your frontline workers. They make the show happen. They can also be the quickest, most cost-effective route to deliver digitized, next-gen store experiences. We'll focus on the audience, your shoppers, and specifically new ways that you can engage them. And to finish, we'll bring everything together to discuss how relationships are evolving to change how the audience interacts with the stars of the show, your products and brands.
Yes, so our first act is going to take a look at the theaters themselves, your physical stores. Your audience is back and they've returned with heightened expectations. They're demanding both the ease of online shopping that they've grown accustomed to, as well as the full-fledged in-store experience, forcing companies to rethink their physical retail proposition. What's funny, though, is that if you think about it, it's not all that different than the origin of the American mall, which was designed to deliver both convenience and entertainment. You could find all the stores you needed conveniently in one place and also spend time with your community. But if you fast forward to early 2020, the pendulum started to swing very far in one direction, towards stores that were focused purely on entertainment. Then out of necessity, the pendulum swung hard and fast the other direction, toward convenience. We're now entering what we'd consider a renaissance in physical retail, where the pendulum is resting more happily in the middle, and companies are looking to deliver both ease and inspiration to shoppers. What's different today, though, is that in addition to those two demands, consumers also expect their store experience to be seamless, meaning it needs to be underpinned by technology. Now, in creating a seamless store experience, there are 2 things that retailers need to be thinking about: making the experience continuous and making it frictionless. We define what we're calling continuous as an experience that moves from one channel to the next very consistently, or even better, picks up as you move from one to another without any interruption. We define frictionless as removing a critical pain point for shoppers at any point in the customer journey. And as you'll see here, there are a number of solutions or capabilities that solve for one or both of these issues to a varying degree. For example, if you've got a dedicated space in your stores for online order pickup, that brings together the digital and the physical, making a unified experience. But it also removes a critical pain point for shoppers, making it frictionless. Now, removing friction is always going to be critical to a seamless store experience, but we here at Shoptalk actually believe that a best-in-class unified experience is going to be one of the biggest unlocks for companies going forward. It sort of reminds me of the value exchange as consumers share data with retailers. If I tell you about my preferences, I expect you to use that information to make my experience better. I'd argue the same could be said about physical retail, right? If I take the time to engage with you online, I don't want to start from square one when I show up in your store. One company that's doing this incredibly well is Brilliant Earth. Now, their CEO is going to be on the stage in a couple of hours, so I don't want to steal too much of her thunder, but they are a fine jewelry retail that started out online and has been really clever about finding ways to make the shopping experience continuous as they've opened stores. For example, shoppers can arrange to have an online consultation so that by the time they show up for their in-store appointment, they're already greeted with a pre-curated selection of items. And I recognize this exact path forward might not be the right approach for you depending on the level of consideration or price point for your product, but it's hopefully a good example of how powerful a unified experience can be. And when you think about that in parallel with Panera's recent announcement that they're going to be tying their loyalty program to Amazon One's biometric scanning solution in stores, you can start to see how this kind of experience might start to play out across industries. Of course, the gold standard is when retailers successfully combine a continuous and a frictionless experience, which typically requires a full suite of solutions. A great example of this is Zara's flagship over in London. Their app creates a continuous experience by syncing to your specific store, and you can use wayfinding technology to find specific products. Friction is reduced for in-store pickup through a parcel robot, and online returns can also be processed through the app and dropped off at a dedicated point. Pay and Go stations let shoppers remove the security tag from their items and pay through the app, and then your digital receipt is seamlessly stored with your other previous orders. So as the curtain falls on our first act, here are a couple of key takeaways. First, as consumers expect more from physical retail, the store needs to deliver both a frictionless and a continuous experience. Thinking about which capabilities deliver on both of these attributes can be a helpful way to think about investing in a world of finite resources. Second, while delivering a continuous experience for customers is quite a bit harder, it also offers a greater reward. We view this as the next generation of omni-channel retail, where consumers no longer just expect to be able to shop where they want, when they want, but they expect that journey to move seamlessly across channels. And third, a counterintuitive one, but when it's done a little differently, a little bit of friction can actually be a good thing. If you're not familiar with Jumbo, they're a Dutch supermarket chain, and they've actually figured out a really clever way to do this. They've introduced slow checkouts at their stores where consumers can choose to wait in a longer line so they have an opportunity to chat with the associate while they're checking out. Yes, it certainly adds a little bit of friction, but it shows Jumbo understands not all their consumers want to be in and out as quickly as possible, helping them build a really unique value proposition.
Excellent. Moving on to Act 2, nothing in the great theater of retail would be possible without the stage crew, the ushers, the ticket sellers, those frontline workers that power the industry. There are over 11 million job openings in the US, and in February, the unemployment rate was just 3.6%, which means the challenges to maintaining a high-quality frontline workforce are very real, and this in an industry that's used to high attrition. Data from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that in Q4, retail workers were more than 40% more likely than the average to quit their jobs. And the gap in that quit rate between retail and the US workforce overall is only widening. To address the labor gap, retailers and brands are using tech to automate manual tasks. Seamless store technologies like robotics, electronic shelf edge ticketing, RFID reduce the labor required for things like inventory checks and price changes. The business case for some of these technologies gets even stronger in a super tight labor market. But this creates a tension between attracting and retaining the frontline workforce you need, while also transforming their roles to deliver on the future needs of the business, and all with an eye to the bottom line. Let's look at 3 tech-enabled aspects of the frontline workforce: flexibility in hiring and development, new information resources for frontline workers, and new roles and opportunities for them as well. Flexibility is increasing all along the employment journey. Tech solutions are transforming how frontline workers get hired, trained, scheduled, how they manage their tasks and their paychecks, and even how they develop and advance in their careers. I won't go through all of these steps, but I do want to cite a couple of examples. Companies like WorkWhile, whose CEO is speaking this afternoon, they offer businesses a pool of thoroughly vetted, flexible workers. Solutions like Fountain, also speaking this afternoon, facilitate the application and hiring process for hourly workers. Merco and WorkJam, again, you'll hear from them this afternoon too. I'm really promoting this session, aren't I? They provide distinct solutions, but they help improve communication between management and frontline workers as well as productivity. In terms of payroll, there are new solutions that are enabling payment for a worker upon completion of a shift or even a task, dispensing with that old school biweekly paycheck. So smart companies should be thinking about flexibility all along an employee's journey, not only because it's valuable for the workers, but because it makes them more competitive as they scout the best and brightest frontline workers, keeping them engaged in their own future as well as the future of their company. A second way that technology will empower this flexible, productive, and engaged workforce is by helping them better engage with shoppers. Mobile apps that place data at their fingertips can greatly help store associates replicate the immediacy and personalization that people enjoy and expect in digital shopping. These tools weave together 3 types of data: First, related to products and services. Second, generally useful info, like product availability at nearby locations, shipping times for online orders. And finally, data on the shopper herself, helping achieve that Act 1 goal of seamless shopping. For example, a European retailer called Pets at Home offers a mobile associate app that pulls both product and pet information into one place. Best Buy here in the States arms associates with an app called Solution Sidekick, which offers real-time customer profile and engagement data and can send details of any conversations or recommended products straight to a shopper's own device. Identifying an in-store shopper, of course, presents challenges unless they explicitly opt into that. But as Krystina said in Act 1, if shoppers receive real value and if they trust the retailer with their data, this really moves closer to unlocking that personalized shopping experience within stores. A third route to unlock digital transformation through frontline workers involves new roles that extend their capabilities into the digital world. It helps frontline workers step onto the stage, at times literally. And there's two approaches here. First, digitally enabled store associates can offer one-to-one advice and help to online customers through chat, text, other channels. What are the benefits to offering this human help to digital shoppers? Well, Nordstrom has said that customers who engage a stylist, either online or in-store, spend 7 times more with the retailer and report much higher levels of satisfaction. A second opportunity is the rise of video-enhanced shopping, which gives some associates the opportunity to stream their knowledge and their passion one-to-one or one-to-many. Krystina is about to say more about shoppable video in Act 3, but I'll point out that companies like Macy's are tapping into store associates as knowledgeable and authentic advocates for their products and brands. Now, not every associate has it in them to be a video star, but creating engaging video content, live chats, one-to-one consultations, offers some frontline workers a new role in the theater of retail. So, as you're thinking about the new digitally empowered frontline workforce, here are 3 last things to keep in mind. 1, flexibility around hiring and management will be an increasingly important differentiator for retailers that are looking to hire the best of the next generation frontline workforce. Second, associate empowering data tools facilitate a much higher grade of customer service, facilitating those continuous shopping experiences. And third, tech and seamless shopping are creating new roles and opportunities for frontline workers going forward.
Right. Well, for Act 3, as Joe mentioned, we're going to turn to the most important people in the whole theater, which is the audience, or in your case, the shoppers. We've heard a lot this week about how e-commerce has significantly improved the buying experience for shoppers, but retailers haven't quite cracked the code on making online shopping fun and engaging. Of course, there are a number of ways that retailers and brands can engage their shoppers online, but for today, we're going to focus on these 4: social media, video, the metaverse, and everyone's favorite, generative AI. Starting with social, even as growth slows on some of the established platforms, insider intelligence forecasts that the number of users who purchase a product on social media will increase 43% in the 5 years ending 2025, accounting for $107 billion in revenue. Now, those numbers could take a hit if the US decides to follow through with its ban on TikTok, because it has been driving much of that growth. But if that did happen, it could also mean a lift in sales for platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, which would surely see an increase in traffic. Regardless of what happens on the TikTok front, one area we've started to see a lot of the major platforms pull back from is live shopping. It's no secret that consumer adoption of live stream commerce has failed to take off to the same extent here that it has in China, and even some of the most bullish proponents of this offering anticipate it won't really account for more than 5% of total e-com sales come 2026. Now, live stream commerce lends itself incredibly well to categories like beauty, but it also forces time-pressed consumers to dedicate themselves at specific times, often for extended periods. It's worth pointing out that the opportunity to engage with consumers over video is real and meaningful, and it also extends beyond live shopping. Now, where live stream really shines is in driving an awareness and discovery. Yes, I realize you can take the time to interact with a host and ask questions, but compare that to how Best Buy and more recently Apple are leveraging video. They're finding early success with using it at the point of consideration. If any of you guys went to our session earlier with Best Buy's chief merchant, he talked about their virtual store offering, which essentially lets an associate connect with a consumer for a video consultation so that they can ask questions and get specific advice about how to potentially use or purchase a product. And Verishop, who you heard from earlier this week, is also using an automated system that cuts live streams into clips and is adding those clips to product pages. They've said engagement has gone up 40% on pages that include those clips. Of course, being able to seamlessly transact within a video experience is critical to conversion and something that solution providers like Firework are helping retailers do well. And other solution providers like Texi are helping retailers continue the conversation with shoppers post-purchase by helping them learn how to use or troubleshoot a product. Now, shifting gears, I want to briefly talk about the metaverse because it can be very easy to dismiss an emerging technology after it's gone through such a massive hype cycle. But it's important to remember that Roblox has nearly 60 million daily active users, more than half of who are now over the age of 13. Indeed, even as some of the excitement that surrounded the metaverse comes back down to earth, there are still some incredibly relevant ways to leverage those technologies to engage with shoppers. They include augmented reality for product try-ons or engaging experiences like this one from IKEA. Virtual environments like this example from PacSun and Roblox, and blockchain and NFT-based loyalty programs like Starbucks Odyssey also offer fun and interactive ways to engage with consumers. And finally, if the metaverse has gone through the traditional Gartner hype cycle, we're now perhaps at peak hype for generative AI. As you can see here, since its public launch in November, searches for ChatGPT have well outpaced the metaverse at its peak, showing just how quickly mainstream interest in this technology has grown. Investor interest has also soared, with funding to generative AI companies hitting $2.65 billion last year, and companies like Salesforce announcing major commitments to it going forward. What's different about generative AI, though, is its unique opportunity to help hit that sweet spot that all retailers and brands are after today, boosting engagement while also cutting costs. The use cases, quite frankly, seem endless, which is evident by this incredibly dense market map by CB Insights. But to highlight just a couple of ways these solutions are boosting efficiency and engagement, there's companies like Pixis, which again, we're on our tech track, and are helping retailers create engaging marketing copy efficiently. And within customer service, the generative AI boom has spurred new interest in chatbots like those from our speakers Forethought, Natomi, and Wizard, which can help provide more accurate customer service more quickly and efficiently. So we'll now conclude our third act with a couple of key takeaways. First, retailers should explore new opportunities to use video, including on-demand shoppable opportunities or one-to-one customer service interactions. Second, efficiency and engagement aren't mutually exclusive, and the retailers who invest in capabilities that tick both boxes will position themselves to win. And third, even as personalization's been a buzzword in the industry for years, the maturation and adoption of generative AI promises to bring the industry into a new era of personalization at scale that wasn't previously possible. It's coming at a critical time, too, as consumers engage with retailers across an abundance of platforms, and companies need the content to support those interactions.
For our fourth and final act on our journey through the theater of retail, we wanted to discuss the relationships that make the magic of show business happen. Just as relationships between stars and fans are changing, so too are retailer relationships being disrupted and redefined across the landscape. In the next few minutes, we'll look at three aspects of these changing relationships. The continued growth of online marketplaces, which is changing the relationship between brands and retailers and consumers, but also between retailers and brands. Relationships between retailers and brands are also being transformed by the rapid rise of retail media networks. And third, relations between retailers and other retailers are also in flux as some of them begin selling tech solutions to their peers. We're referring to this trend as collaborative commerce solutions. So let's start with a quick look at the state of online marketplaces. According to research from Digital Commerce 360, in 2022, shoppers worldwide spent $3.25 trillion on the top 100 marketplaces. That's more than half of global e-commerce spending. The flexibility of the marketplace model creates lots of different value propositions for brands and retailers alike. And one new marketplace development we find interesting is the rise of specialty retailers embracing the strategy. You have companies like Michaels for crafting or 1-800-Flowers for gifting, all launching marketplaces to extend their product ranges and give shoppers more options. However, the open nature of many marketplaces creates the risk of a negative customer experience. Consumer watchdogs continue to give marketplaces bad reviews in terms of trust and confidence that a shopper is getting what she expects. And regulators are watching too. Last December, the European Court of Justice ruled that Amazon was potentially liable for counterfeit items sold by its marketplace. In real-world Manhattan, shoppers can tell the difference between Fifth Avenue and Canal Street. But retailers embracing the marketplace opportunity really need to be thoughtful about which of those streets is a better metaphor for their marketplace. We're also seeing traditional relationships reshaped by the skyrocketing growth of retail media. The Retail Media Network, or RMN, gives retailers an exciting new revenue stream, and it reverses the historic relationship they've had with brands. Now it's the retailers that are selling something, their audience. Insider intelligence forecasts that RMNs will be worth $60 billion in the US by 2024. It also reckons that on a percentage basis, Walmart and Instacart will be the fastest growing sellers of digital ads this year. Of course, this growth is coming off a pretty low base of total ad dollars. In 2022, Walmart earned $2.7 billion in ad revenue, which is great for a new line of business, but it's orders of magnitude what Google, say, makes. The success of these big pioneering retail media networks is spurring fast followers. The University of Arkansas identified more than 600 RMNs in the US alone, ranging from Lowe's to Macy's, Walmart to Marriott. From a brand's point of view, the features of a successful retail media partnership shine a spotlight on the same three things that have ruled advertising and marketing since the Mad Men days. Who's in the audience? How many can I reach? What kind of data can I get? Can I trust it? And what's the format of the message itself? But on top of these qualities, there's also concerns about how RMNs are changing those brand-retailer relationships. Do they deliver real value? Are they just a new cost of doing business? With over 600 RMNs competing for ad dollars, each one of them is going to have to prove that it's driving sales for the brands that work with it, especially at a time when marketers have to justify each line item in their budgets. The last set of evolving relationships is between retailers and other retailers. As retailers are investing in their in-house tech capabilities, some are finding they've built something they could productize, sell as a collaborative commerce solution. For example, driven by the imperative to fulfill and deliver orders faster and more effectively, companies like Gap and Walmart have built out strong in-house fulfillment networks. Others like American Eagle have acquired tech solutions that are still products in their own right. It's common in ops today, but retail-enabled tech solutions are emerging in other areas too. ThredUp, which started as an online thrift store, now offers its technology to help other brands enter the resale space. The digital world, ever since it started 20 years ago, has spawned these relationships between rivals who are also partners. As retailers with tech expertise launch collaborative commerce solutions, the line between who's a retailer and a tech solution will get blurrier, and these frenemy situations will only increase. So, to wrap up, relationships are in flux, everyone is apparently doing everything, and the theater of retail is about to see a lot of new drama. As these relationships change, first, new revenue opportunities like marketplaces are really exciting, but retailers that execute them poorly risk undermining their core business of, being a retailer. Competition among the 600 plus retail media networks is going to drive rapid innovation in that space, but also a push for solid, believable success metrics. And third, companies building in-house tech solutions are increasingly going to keep an eye on them as to whether those might be products and sources of revenue in their own right.
Yes, well, so now it is time for the curtain to fall on this particular show at the Great Theater of Retail. But we're left with a sense of opportunity, of stores evolving to give inspiration and convenience, of frontline workers driving digital transformation, of shoppers seeking and being entertained, and of industry relationships being redefined.
Indeed. For those who don't grasp these opportunities, the trapdoor exit to the theater of retail is currently all too real. Yet, for those who do, the Tony Awards of increased market share, profit growth, and relevance await. We're looking forward to seeing you on the red carpet. Thank you very much.